Alright, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with some more Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay cast. I think this is going to be an epic one, just from what I heard about this series, so I'm excited to watch it. Also, just prefacing this entire commentary here before I really get into the meat and potatoes of it. This is going to be on the Balance Test mod. So, what we are having here today is going to be a Terran versus Zerg best of 3, and oh man, it is going to be the best here. It is the best of 3. As up in the top left-hand side of the map, we've got Rogue, the big boy, the big Zerg, one of the top Zergs in the world, playing for the Jin Air Green Wings, and in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's Dream, playing for Bravestar Gaming. Dream, one of the Terran old pros who recently returned to pro gaming, or recently, in I guess relative terms anyway. And he's on the up and up. He's playing some very sick games, winning some online tournaments and whatnot. And in this replay, he's playing a best of 3 versus Rogue on another online tournament, the Olima League, which for this weekly cup has been played on the Balanced Test mod. So what that means is, even though the Balanced patch, as of me recording this, isn't live, this game was played on it. So basically, we've got all the new balance changes in effect, and it's actually going to be what I think is really educational for me. It's the first time I'm actually checking this out. I know there's a lot of tweaks and stuff, so I'm going to be keeping my eyes and ears open for any potential changes that I might see. Off the top of my head, I think most of the changes have to do with like the late game for the most part. There's a few smaller things here and there, but as far as everything else, I'm not sure what else will really affect Terran versus Zerg, off the top of my head anyway. Regardless, though, Dream and Rogue, whatever patch it's played on, like going all the way back to the very first StarCraft, I think it would be a good series. So we take a look here right now. Dream, interestingly enough, has opened up with 2 Marines. He was basically going Overlord hunting. Unfortunately for him, Rogue is a very, very smart Zerg who hit his Overlord there. If the Overlord was, say, wandering over here, it could have died, but Rogue probably played versus that before and has adjusted accordingly. And then we take a look at the way these two players are going at it. We've got Rogue securing the space here. Lets you start spreading creep pretty soon onto this base, which is good because you've got a large area to cover. And if you can cover that, it will just buy you a lot of time before the Terran attack can come on in. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, one of the things I'm really excited to cast for this replay is Dream and Rogue actually, or in general, just playing a late game TvZ on the new patch would be something I'm really interested in. I'm a big time believer in StarCraft 2, in which the fundamental best race in StarCraft 2 is the race with the best late game, in my opinion, because it basically ensures that if you let a game go long enough, you're going to have a much higher chance to win. And I think that's always been the case, and I think it will continue to be the case. So a patch that shakes up the late game, I think, is more important than a patch that, say, buffs a unit or nerfs like a timing attack or something like that. Because the late game, in my opinion, is the thing that everyone should try and aspire to reach. Because if you can consistently get there, like someone as good as Serral or Rogue, then you're going to have a very good chance of winning. Now, talking about this actual game here, we've got Dream. He's going to be going for something to try and end the game before the late game, interestingly enough. So he's not going into the late game, but he's going to be trying to put some pressure onto his opponent, onto Rogue. And Rogue right now is rather unprepared for a Hellbat Marine attack, which is coming his way right now. We've got Marines and Medivacs. The Marines adding a lot of DPS in this, while the Hellbats are going to cover those Marines. They're pretty much on top of the Marines, just body blocking them, making sure that the Lings can't get on top of them. And there's actually just so much of Dream here. This completely blindsided Rogue, who didn't scout this in time, who wasn't prepared for it. And it looks like Dream kind of cutting my rant short a little bit, or my tangent short a little bit, as Rogue is just dying here. There are Hellbats, there are Marines just in scores here, and like, this is just a bad time here for the Zerg. I mean, maybe Rogue can clean this up. He's getting good surface area on the Marines with his Lings, but there's still so much Zerg here, or so much Terran here right now. Like, these Hellbats are still cooking, and Rogue just taps out. So we've actually got a 1-0 lead here for Dream, and Dream says, all right, the answer to your question, LaughNgamez, are we going to get a late game in game number 1 is definitely no. I don't care if this patch was going to shake that up. Welcome. Well, here's Hellbat All-In still work. I love how Rogue has the special as his portrait, by the way. You just gotta love that. There's probably some deep-seated memery going on there. Now, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're already into game number 2. It was much quicker than I thought it would be, but yeah, I'm just gonna say, if you enjoy these commentaries, if you enjoy the fact that I'm covering the new patch, make sure to press that like button. And let's try and break 22 likes on this video for what is hopefully going to be a bit longer of a Terran versus Zerg. And yeah, we'll just see how this match is going to go moving forward. I really do enjoy watching Dream and Rogue play, as they rarely disappoint. And I mean, Rogue just not scouting, that was a bit unfortunate. Dream, though, shows some gumption, just being able to go for an attack like that. On a patch which people might be like, maybe you are playing the late game. Also, on top of the whole subscribe if you enjoy, or like if you enjoy the content, totally said it there. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy these videos, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and this is the first one of my commentaries you're watching, I put out a lot of them, so I generally try and put out one a day. No promises, though. Sometimes I miss a day. I'm only human. I got a few jobs, got some classes and other things, but I do try and put out a video every day to make sure I stay up to date on Starcraft 2. I'll even be putting up videos every day when Home Story Cup is going on, which I recommend that you should all go out and watch. It's going to be the 20th Home Story Cup, which is just unfathomable, honestly. A tournament doing like 20 events is just so sick, and it's gonna have a lot of good pros. I don't know if Rogue or Dream are at it, but either way, it's still gonna be really good. And yeah, we'll just see how this game's gonna go. I'm just watching this Overlord for now. I'm actually gonna pull up. Totally, I didn't have this pulled up beforehand. Gonna pull up the patch notes. So just gonna pull that up while we wait. The Reaper is gonna be coming on in. Yeah, I'm just pulling up the patch notes here in case we actually do see anything that that changes. Nothing too major though. Reaper sharking about still. I'm trying to find these patch notes. Where are they? Give me these new patch notes. 29 days ago. Oh man, this is professional as always. Nothing too major going on though, early on at least. Final proposed balance changes. There we are. These things are actually really hard to find. If you Google something, like the StarCraft 2 website is honestly a mess for trying to find new things. And so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing too major for Terran. It's really all just late game upgrades for the most part. But there we go, as I say it. I'm literally looking at it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Dream going for a fusion core. And now, interestingly enough, this could be a number of things here. The fusion core is much better. And you might be like, what? The fusion core? What does that even do? It lets you build battle cruisers, but also it's now going to allow you to get a few more Terran upgrades. It's gonna, I'm pretty sure, Banshee Speed, or maybe not, no, not Banshee Speed. Rapid Reignition System for the Starport, which basically buffs Medivac's boost and ups their Medivac base movement speed. Is on there. I mean, as I say, that Dream's just battle cruiser Russian. He's just like, right, BCs, they're still pretty good, and I honestly think that BCs won't nerf too much at all. As long as Terrans are a little bit on top of their control, they're going to be fine. We get a second of downtime here, but for now, oh man, these Hellions are charging on in. Oh, this could be really bad here for Rogue. The Hellions for Dream are getting on in there, roasting and toasting. Lings are dying. I mean, the Hellions are trying to catch these drones. So far, Rogue actually did manage to save his units pretty darn well. He lost 10 drones to that. Still really hurts, and oh, he's clumping them up. He's clumping them up. He might lose a few more to another shot. No. Okay, in total, we see 11 drones, 16 Lings for 5 Hellions. That was a great attack for Dream. All the while, he's building a battlecruiser. Here I am, trying to talk about the new patch, and Dream is just going gung-ho, diving in, YOLOing with his Hellions, and he totally just gets a good number of drones there. It is going to be a mech play, and now this is one of the things I'm wondering. Zerg still has, oh, by the way, BC just kind of yeets on in here. As far as actual statistical changes for the BC, like its damage or anything, no changes there. The BC still can just teleport in. It takes a second more to teleport out. Let me just double check that. Battlecruiser, yeah. It may not be canceled anymore, as long as the BC is teleporting. I mean, of course, if it gets, like, fungal beforehand, it can't teleport still. Yamato Cannon will no longer cancel itself if a target enters a transport or becomes cloaked or burrowed. Instead, it will miss now, so I think that's a fair change. It allows some counterplay to Yamato Cannon. Interestingly enough, though, we see Dream. He's actually not just going into multiple BCs. He literally just made one. Now he's going into tanks and Hellions. And this is actually really, really curious right now. The fact that he went one BC into Hellions and tanks, I mean, tanks back in the day for Terran meching were the staple because tanks are so good. They got their range and everything. The thing is, Zerg would just go into Broodlords, but then in the past, Terran would just make Vikings and that would counter and Ravens and that would counter the Broodlords. Now, that's not the case anymore because ultimately Zerg wins out in that arms race with Vipers and Infestors. But now that Infested Terran are nerfed, I'm honestly just wondering if Mass BC just is the GOAT. Because in the past, Zerg would just make a ton of Infestors. Now I think they're just going to have to go very Corruptor heavy with a few Infestors. Because Infestors no longer have Infested Terran, right? And so as a result, they can catch units, but they can't kill them. So I think Zerg players will have to adjust accordingly. I don't think it'll nerf them too much in the late game, but it will make it nicer that that Zerg pretty much can't just make Infestors. And so, with Zerg not being able to make a ton of Infestors, maybe that'll open up like the Ghost or Thor route, as Zerg will still need, say, maybe more Broodlords. Oh, this PC has to be careful. Their teleport out is slower. It no longer has that immediate get-out-of-jail-free card. There's the teleport. See, it takes a second to kind of yeet on out of there. Dream, though, now is building another battlecruiser. We're already seeing Rogue go into Corruptors, which is good to see from the Zerg. But yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting to see how the Infestor nerf really, really changes things. I think Zerg still has pretty good anti-air. Zerg still has pretty darn good anti-air, I think, in my opinion. However, whether the Mass BC is a little bit better now, I think definitely it will be the case. Because Mass Infestors aren't just going to rock you anymore. And so, as a result, I think Zerg isn't just going to be able to punish them. Because how many times have we seen BCs just engage in a fight, and then the Zerg spams out all the Infestors? Now I think it might open up more avenues for, like, Thors or Ghosts to be good. Because there's going to be less Infestors on the map because they can't use Infested Terran. They really are more of a support unit now, in a sense. Which is really good to see, in my opinion. I think no caster should be able to effectively be a full army and defend itself. We take a look here. I think I'd love to see a 4th base from Dream going up, and he already has that on the way. We are seeing Pathogen Glands on the way for Rogue, but I mean, those Infestors, they ain't going to be able to toss out them Infested Terran anymore, which is actually going to be kind of interesting to see. I still think, fundamentally, Zerg will have the better late game. By the way, the Carapace upgrade, or these Hellions, are not quite one-shotting these Lings. They got the +1 attack, but they need a little bit more oomph before they really start wrecking up those Lings. Once that blue flame is done, they will be much, much better. Dream just trying to stay active out on the map, deny creep and whatnot. Rogue just playing the defensive style. This is going to be the interesting thing. Whether Terran can say Turtle maybe more effectively. Because there's not mass-infested Terran that can just be lobbed on out. Or used in pair to prevent like the Terran just committing on top of the Zerg. I think we really will see a lot less infestors coming out of Zerg now. Which is a really good thing in my opinion. Because no spellcaster should be spammed en masse. And man, Zergs would build a lot of infestors. Talking more about this game, though, I'll start focusing more about the game unless we really see some changes. Interestingly enough, though, from Rogue, we do see one of these new Nidus. Now, if I tab out for a second and pull up those changes there, the Nidus network, the cost increased a whopping 25.25. So it's a little bit more expensive for the worms, which I think is fair because they were pretty much cheap. Pretty much free, essentially. 50-50 is not a lot. Rogue, though, interestingly enough, still going to this, even though the Nidus Worm now has a cooldown, so they're not as easily spammed. The unload delay has been decreased, the load period has been increased, and the unload period has been increased. So, yeah, I think it's a good change. We're gonna see how quick this is. How speedy is the new Nidus? Why do I get the feeling that Rogue just hasn't actually made one of these yet, and he's like, I want to see how quick these are. He's still gonna be unloading units. How quick do they pop out? Compared to the... Oh, look at that. That is so slow compared to before. That is like a dream right now. It's like, huh, that is slow. I'm glad I don't have to worry about that as much anymore. I think that was honestly... Rogue sent to like 6 Zerglings. I think that was honestly Rogue testing that to see how bad the new Nidus was. And the answer is it's not fantastic. You'll just have to use Ultras, which still unload at the same speed. And look at that, Rogue throws up an Ultra Cavern. Whether he's actually going to do Nidus Ultra, I do not know. Dream is going to reposition his Siege Tank now to deal with this non-stop Nidus Worm, it would seem. The BCs, though, the Siege Tank will shut this down. Probably want to kill the Overlord. Nidus networks also do cost the Zerg a little bit more. Rogue, while this is going on, though, is still just happily sitting back. But then so is Dream. It's the ultimate question of who's the better race to sit back as. I mean, we're seeing Thors come out, and I mean, Neural Parasite is still going to be very good infestor-wise versus Thors and things, but the mass-infested Terran isn't really going to help out with siege tanks. It's not going to help out with battle cruisers as much. Or they won't help out with battle cruisers. Oh man, in comes the Zerg though. Look at this. This is like a solid mech army. Oh man, so many Banelings just crashed into a few Thors. These BCs, of course, they take a lot longer to teleport, or they take time to teleport out now, but that was still pretty speedy. They do get out of there, and Rogue just threw away a lot of resources, I feel, into this Terran army. I mean, that was Banelings versus Thors. That is never gonna go good for the Zerg. No matter how many Banelings you make. I mean, yeah, you may be able to kill the Terran army, but unless you, like, kill the Terran and win the game, you do not want to be making Banelings versus Thors. We see Dream right now. He's spreading out his tanks. He's going to be securing his army. He's going to try and build up another Nidus network because this siege tank has actually moved. You really got to give it to Rogue for trying this. He's like, look at it! Look at how bad this Nidus is! As he throws away an extra 25 minerals compared to what he would in the past. Rogue, though, going to be Nidusing at the front. This is actually really curious. Has he made Ultras or anything? He's made 4. So an Ultra popping out in your base can still be a problem. Mass Lings, Mass Roach, or Swarm Host going to be a little bit worse, I think. I don't think the actual Swarm Host was changed, though, in the patch, but oh well. Anyway, we take a look right now. Dream just using his couple of BCs. He's making tanks. He's making Vikings. He's just playing like this cool composition. I don't know if it's the best composition you can make or not. For now, he's going to be retreating with his few Thors and tanks. The Zerg is totally getting baited into a lot of tanks and Thors now, though. And as he goes off creep, I think at first that was okay for the Zerg, but follow up, I'm not too sure. Corruptors. Looks like they might have actually killed off those battle cruisers. Nope, the BCs are fine. Another Nidus is getting called on in too. Where? I am not sure. I think that Nidus might have already died. There's another one being called on in. Dream, will he deal with this, though? Seeing as how he's sending out Vikings, he definitely knows this is coming. He's got a BC that's going to be there. Unless a couple of Ultras pop out, I think he'll be fine. But, oh, some Banelings are going to roll on out. They're going to roll right into those depots. another worm actually gets called on out, and that was actually a very speedy worm, so this leads me to believe that Rogue has 2 Nidus networks, but he doesn't. What? This is on the balanced test mod, right? Maybe not. Maybe not. Curious. Maybe that's just after it gets killed, and that one wasn't killed yet by the time. Oh, that is curious. Alright, Corruptors, though, suddenly join into the fray. The Thor is now dealing with Ultras. This is actually like Dream's base being compromised right now. How efficient this is for the Zerg, just to be like rallying in a few Ultras, a few other units, I'm not too sure, because man, these Lings are just getting cooked on up into this Nidus, but with Ultras popping out, I mean, Thors are pretty good versus them, though. I think the Zerg is just getting shut down here. And, Summon Nidus Worm ability cooldown increased from 0 to 14. Maybe that wasn't 14 seconds or something. I'm gonna have to click on that next time. Subterranean scales. Ultras have 3 armor when emerging from the ground. What? Okay. The Rogue is all over the place here. We take a look here. Those units are running. Or that's Nidus Worm, not Ultra, pardon me. I was confused for a second there. Yeah, those these units are getting caught, though. They are getting caught. What is a solid tell? I guess it could be the Thor's AA damage that'll tell us. Thor's Hammer, Punisher Cannon, 34, 47. I'm pretty sure that means we are not on the new patch. Even though that this was labeled as on the balanced test mod. Let's see. Thor. Decreased from 40 to 25 plus 10 versus Massive. With the plus 3, I do not know. I don't know. Because that's plus 3. Yeah, I think that might be right. Yeah, okay, this is on the new patch. The attack speed has been reduced from 1.7 to 0.91, so they are much quicker. Enough looking at that, though. Looks like Rogue is really committing on in here to kill off the Terran's bases, but if you're the Zerg and you go for an attack, just to like snipe a base or two, usually it's not efficient. And so far, that is not the case. The Zerg player has not been efficient. This game, Dream has built up a massive, massive army. Meanwhile, he's going to be counterattacking in the bottom left, picking off a base. The Terran player is pretty split up right now. The Ultras are getting on in. Infestors have been made. The Neural Parasite is actually getting used. Rogue saying Infestors are still relevant as Siege Tanks shoot down most of them and the Thors gets freed. That might not be the case, though, as those Infestors just get shut down. A couple of Siege Tanks shelling away on this base. The bottom left base is gone. The bottom right base is under fire. Dream, as Terran does, floating over another command center here, just going to be able to keep his economy rolling. And his army supply is massive. The Zerg player right now, worried, going to have to defend this attack, is making Broodlords. Lings are going to clean up these tanks and Hellbats. Nicely done on that front by Rogue. Also going to be looking for a counterattack, but this has been spotted. The Thor quickly shoots down that Ultra with his new attack speed. Another base for Rogue goes down, and Rogue, who had a big bank, has suddenly lost it. He's trying to secure this base in the bottom left. Dream himself is kind of starting to mine out a little bit. I mean, his main's not really mining, his natural's not mining a ton. His third is really mined out. His fourth is just getting re-secured, but he is going to want to take another base pretty soon. Meanwhile, this army out on the front is getting caught here, so both players throwing away a lot of resources, but so far, the Terran player's still in the lead. I'm curious. This is actually really curious. I mean, I'm talking so much about the balance patch, and I do apologize if I'm just like talking about the one patch or something. But instead of actually focusing on the gameplay this game, I'm doing a lot of hypotheticals here. As these Broodlords coming in, though, it is no hypothetical that Dream needs something else, because he's got like 20 siege tanks, 19 siege tanks against Broodlords, which never does well. You pretty much just got to YOLO the tanks across the map and hope they hit their mark and get some critical targets. As Dream right now is making Thors, making Vikings, which is kind of refreshing to see confidence in this style. But yeah, the way that Rogue is playing this, he's not really just trying to make Infestors. He's not making Vipers. I'm still not sure if, like, a Zerg completely 100% turtles, if they would lose to a Terran who also turtles. It's really tough to say. These Hellions, by the way, have a bad time as they run into those Ultras. Because make no mistake, this game Rogue is throwing away a lot of resources. This Overlord calling in a Nidus should be able to get this off, which is going to be very good here for the Zerg. Viking lands to engage this, but the Nidus Worm is not mechanical, so it's going to take a long time to kill this. And when I say a long time, oh boy, this is taking a long time to kill that. Oh no, oh no, it's like the second part of the Swarm cinematic. The poor Ultras, they die. Thors, though, do come out. 2 of the Ultras actually get trapped, and it just does go to show that this harassment that Rogue is going for, I was talking about how it's not the most efficient style. It really isn't. He's throwing away a ton of Ultras, a ton of Lings, a ton of other units. And so he's going to need to get something done. One thing that I really do like that Rogue is doing is taking all the bases. If you mine the minerals, your opponent cannot have them. So we see Rogue, he's actually really putting emphasis on mining the bottom left and the top right base, instead of, say, this base here or this base here as quick, because there may be a time when Dream secure those bases and Rogue will be stealing the money right out of his pocket. These tanks are sieging. I think the Zerg can just get on top of this, though, but now there's a significant Viking presence for the Terran, and Rogue has actually got no anti-air besides 6 queens. So these Vikings are gonna have a field day just wrecking these Broodlords. The queens are coming on in to help out, but the Broodlords still have to retreat essentially endlessly. While there's no corruptors out for Rogue. Why Rogue made no corruptors is kind of beyond me. We take a look though. Dream is getting surrounded right now. The Broodlords and the Ultras are coming in at a pretty good angle. All these Ultras are actually really catching the Thors, who were kind of a little bit overextended. They're retreating for the siege tanks, though. All of a sudden, we take a look. We count the cards, though. There is not enough units in the sky in order to pick off those Broodlords. So Dream is having to retreat right now. He's making 6 Thors at a time. He's retreating tanks and Thors, engaging the Ultras. Works out pretty well for the tanks and Thors as they generally win that fight. But I don't know if these 3 Thors on the ground are going to be enough to take out these Broodlords. It's looking kind of close. More Lings coming on in. One of the Thors gets pulled out of the fight. And this is just so many Lings coming on out of Rogue right now. Both players down on supply, but me oh my, this is a lot of Lings that Rogue has remaxed on. There's not a single Hellbat to be found. There's 6 Thors, but Thors alone cannot take on Lings. They're actually just terrible versus them. The rest of the Thors, they gotta group up, use the Vikings, maybe help on out. I mean, they do alright versus the Lings, it would seem. The Broodlords are retreating for now as Rogue has, or Dream has, squeezed out a few Vikings. We take a look, though. The economy for the Terran is not great, and that the sole reason for that is he hasn't secured another base. Terran can kind of keep their economy going artificially off the back of mules and things on low econ, but Dream is really starting to run out of money right now. He needs to secure another base. He picked off the Zerg's base up in the top right with these siege tanks. He can maybe get some more damage done somewhere else on the map, but ultimately you can only neglect your own economy for so long, and right now we have seen Dream, he's pretty darn broke right now, as he just hasn't secured another base. The creep here for Rogue has completely prevented the Terran from taking this base. If there was no creep here, maybe Dream could have snuck a command center over there, but he can't, and so that means he has to physically take a base, which is a tall order when you're not maxed out versus a Zerg army like this. Right now we see Dream, he's seeing, oh man, infestors. He's seeing drones repositioning to this base over here. Rogue is really hell-bent on mining this base out. He's resecuring the top right base. He really has control of this game. And we take a look right now, the Terran army, the supply is alright for it. I mean, Thors and siege tanks are pretty good versus what Rogue has for now, I think. But unless he can secure another base with confidence, this could be the end for Dream unless he gets something else. Like, he's still up on army supply. He's got a good number of Hellbats. He's got Thors. I'd like to see a few more tanks, and there are some more tanks coming. The Zerg player, though, is positioning. The Zerg player knows that Dream is on a low base count. He knows that the Terran really needs to take another base sooner rather than later. Dream is trying to bait a good fight here, which I think is very wise of him to do. Banelings are coming on in, crashing into Thors and tanks, which is not a good trade for the Zerg. All of a sudden, that is a lot of firepower gone for the Zerg. We take a look, and Fester walks into the Thors and gets shot there. I'm on full zoom out right now because this Zerg is going to be planning a surround, it would seem. The Terran player, though, is pretty dug on in right now. A good number of Hellbats on the right side should be able to intercept these Lings, and if the Lings just engage in those, it's not going to work out too well. We see Infestors are coming forward in low numbers. Neural Parasite's still pretty effective. Your army is not going to fight very well if it's not on your side, and Rogue is Neural Parasiting a good portion of the Terran's army. The Viking lands knowing that if they can just pick off those Infestors, the units will return to Dream's control, and Dream does hold on long enough to secure this base up. He's going to want to get SCVs here. Start dropping any mules that he can, as many mules as he can. There we go. There's some of them dropping. He knows he needs to keep his supply growing. There's one Thor and a couple of Hellbats are attacking Rogue's base in the bottom left. Rogue, though, does still have himself a pretty good economy, as he can just afford to keep churning out these counterattacks with a good number of Lings right now. And because the Zerg player, he's now secured the space in the top right. He's still got this base here. Losing the base in the bottom left does hurt him. But he's also securing this base here, so the income really in favor of the Zergs still. Hellions going for a run by frying up a good number of drones. Rogue's economy starting to hurt a little bit. Army supply pretty darn close this game. This game is an absolute nail-biter between these players. Dream, I think, just has got to keep churning out units, as many as he can. He's making Hellbats for now. He's getting siege tanks wrapped around this planetary, which I really like. Just anchoring this position down. This is such an important base right now for Dream. Hellions moving out on the map for Dream. He's also going to be looking for some counter-harassment. He's going to drive up to this base. I wonder if he's going to scan. He does scan. There's a lot of Lings in tow, though. Those Hellions probably want to transform. They do not. There is smart servos. If you do transform the Hellions, they can just take on Infinity Lings by themselves. We see Lings coming on in. They're going to try and get a wraparound, but the siege tank cover is too good here. Infestors are burrowed up at the front, though. I don't know if Dream knows about this. He's going to be picking off this base, which is good for him. All of a sudden, though, his Thor, his own Viking, is against him. There's not a lot Dream can do about this. The Thor is going to start shooting SCVs. It might be able to get the siege tank, which is a high-value pickup. Once again, it is turning onto the side of Rogue, and all of a sudden, this Thor is denying the mining. Siege tanks are moving forward for Dream. I think Dream actually just has to shoot his own Thor right now. Like, you just gotta cut your losses. It's actually causing big trouble right now. Oh, there's a scan in time to pick off those two Infestors. They tried to nab more of the siege tanks. This Thor, by the way, is just scared. He just doesn't wanna. He's killing his own SCV friends and effectively knocking out all the income for Dream. Dream is really not mining at all besides this one base. If Rogue can shut this down any longer, it's going to be huge for him. These Infestors just keep using energy. Yeah, it's going to kill another tank. It's going to get more and more damage done. I really think that that Dream should have killed this Thor, just shot his own Thor. It sucks, but you got to do it. Now he sent more units onto the high ground, and Rogue is just taking over all three Thors. He's got the 3 Thor hit squad. Dream has lost a lot of supply this game. He's actually just down an army supply by a huge margin now. The Infestors still have enough energy just to keep churning out more units. The 3 Thors are actually just rogues. It's just endless neural. The planetary is under fire. It's going to have to be repaired. The Thors are going to run, the Infestors do run out of their neural parasite there, and they will retreat, but Dream has drastically fallen in supply, losing his own army, killing his own units, and having his mining denied. That really was just a good way, I think, for Rogue maybe to close this one out. There's so many Lings out. There's one Hellbat on the map, and all of these siege tanks could be about to be caught right now. I mean, they're doing a good job versus the Lings at first, but once they really get the surface area, the tanks just melt like butter. And the army for Dream this game really is. It's 3 Thors, a Hellbat, a Liberator, and a Siege Tank. The Liberator's doing some work getting harassment off, but Rogue has Lings into the natural of the Terran. More Siege Tanks are popping out. Oh no, more tanks getting caught by the Lings. And unless a Hellbat or 2 pops out real soon, these Lings are going to go unchecked, getting very nice value pickoffs. Hellbats pop out, but they are not turning and fighting right away. There we go. They will clean up the Lings, which is nice for Dream, but the supply really starting to tell a story. Rogue securing up this base, securing up this base, mining in the top right. If the game goes on long enough, there's a chance, I think, that Dream can make this happen, but there's even an Infestor on the high ground right now, just wishing that it could infested Terran. It might even just fungal. Yeah, it just fungals these SCVs. And that's, does fungal kill an SCV? No, it doesn't. 30 damage. Alright. Take a look here. Like, I think this is pretty good for Rogue to win this one. I mean, the supply, it's still relatively even in the army front, but these are going to be full energy spellcasters, and oh, look at this. Look at this. The Spine Crawler on the high ground from Rogue, shutting down critical mining for Dream. Every SCV it kills is gold. The Spore Crawler does go down. The Infestor gets picked off. You gotta be careful, though, Dream out on the map with 3 Thors when there's mass Infestor out. Oh man, if these Infestors catch the Thors, there's gonna be a bad time. Hellions engaging Ultralisks while this is going on. Oh man, it's now 5 Ultras versus 4 Hellions. The Liberator could potentially help out here a lot, but the main base of Dream really under fire right now. And Dream, he's gonna tap out. Rogue is able to take it with a better economy, I think, or maybe he's not gonna tap out. Crank in chat saying sigh. Dream, not happy. I mean, the game's still going on. The SCVs are getting fungled and stuff. Rogue is talking. The game's still going on. The supply, though, I think it really does favor the Zerg. Rogue says, okay, I'm going for it. You did a wonderful job, says Crank. Talking to the players. Yeah, Liberators turning against the Terran is never a good thing. And on that note, I am pretty darn sure that Dream is dead. Yeah, Dream is, he's toast. He is toast. Alright, well that was a pretty late game between these players. It was a fun one to cast. It's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for Dream to GG out. There we go. As we wait for Dream to GG out, there's actually another game for us to load on into. Like, that was the best of 3, and it just got tied up. So, we are going to load on into map number 3 between those two. I don't know if it's going to be as long or as painful. But yeah, let's take a look here. Dream and Rogue, back at it again. World of Sleepers this time. And here we are in the bottom left for Brave Star Gaming. It's Dream. And up in the top right-hand side of the map, it's Rogue. That game there, that was kind of what I wanted to see between the two players. Rogue, he is very, very good. But he wasn't playing, and he still won the game there. But he wasn't playing for, like, the late game. But then again, neither was Dream. I want to see 2 players just try and turtle to the max in a TvZ. Like, that was a very active mech style. And a very active Zerg style. Like, very, very active. Nidus, Ultra. There were Infestors, but they weren't, like, turtle Infestors. And ultimately, I think the race that has the best defensive late game is the best race in StarCraft 2. And now after this patch, that's up in contention. I mean, yeah, I think it is up in the air still. So we'll just have to see how this next game is going to go. If you ladies and gentlemen enjoyed that last game, make sure to press the like button. Just commentate in 30 minutes. Of new patch TvZ. And this video, I'm guessing it's going to be over an hour long since it's best of 3 and we got another one. Let's see, how long is this video so far? Currently 38 minutes. So the first game was 8 minutes. The second one was 30. We'll see how long this one's going to be. I'm going to have a drink though to try and save my voice. SCV for Dream scouted out as like, huh, Rogue went for an early pool, which he did. So these couple of lings for Rogue are going to turn back home. Because an early pool build like that, like a 16 pool or whatever it was, is entirely about about the surprise. It's a little, it's trying to pull a fast one on your opponent if they're greedy or whatever. Reaper moving out for Dream. He made a Marine behind this, so he should be fine to defend versus any sneaky lings. But you never know, because it could be like 6 lings that sneak across the map and your 1 Marine isn't enough. We see a quick bunker coming out of Dream, though. Rogue gets up his 3rd base before the Reaper denies it, or delays it. Hellion on the way here for Dream, more Hellions, so more classical opening. We'll see if we see that Battlecruiser rush once again from Dream. I want to see a mass late game BC versus Zerg. That's what I want to see in the new patch. I still think that the only real difference is gonna be that it's a bit tougher for Terran to tactically warp out the BCs, like micro them kind of back like Blink Stalkers. And I think it's a little bit tougher for Zerg in order to kill the BCs. Like in the past, the Zerg would maybe have their Corruptors out on the map somewhere, and then Mass Infester to catch the BC. But now in the past, it just, you need the Corruptors with the Infestors. So then you can get off a Neural, so then you can get off Fungal Growth, and then make sure you kill the BCs and they don't just retreat. So Zerg might have to pull their army a little bit more together, or at least start making sure that they group up like 1 Infestor with at least your Corruptors or something, or a few Infestors. Mass Infestor, though, not as good. They're not as good offensively. They're not as good in snap engagements either, because Zergs would literally just spam out tons of Mass Infestor. And by the way, this game, we are seeing a big old Roach Rush coming out of Rogue, and I don't know if Dream spotted this. He's got Hellions out on the map. He's going to pick off a Creep Tumor, but these Roaches, the Lings that are being rallied out behind this is a serious attack coming the way. And these Roaches, they might be about to be spotted. I think Dream now knows what's coming his way. Yeah, he is hightailing it home. He starts up a Marine. He's probably going to build another bunker or 2. Really, the name of the game for the Terran at this point right now is just to ensure that you get up enough units in order to defend, in order to buy enough time for the Battlecruiser to clean up the Roaches. You need to keep the Hellions alive if you're the Terran. You cannot let them get surrounded by the Lings, which are out on the map for Rogue. And if Rogue catches these Hellions, it's going to be lights out for Dream. Dream, he's got his Hellions on the high ground. He wants to pull them back because you need the Hellions to kill the Lings, because the Lings will just ransack all your bases. SCVs have been pulled onto the bunker. A very wise choice from Dream. He's already repairing. The Hellions are dealing with the Lings quite well. The bunker is standing tall for now, but the repair effort is abandoned. Dream pulls the SCVs off the line. The Hellions are retreating, while the Battlecruiser that just popped out is starting to add damage in, but with the Roaches and Ravagers getting on in, I think this is a big mistake. More and more Lings gonna get on in here too. You gotta raise that depot of your Dream, because the SCV losses are gonna start mounting to critical levels. The BC is helping, trying to clean this up as much as it can. SCVs are gonna get back to mining though. You wanna raise that wall of your Dream. Like, I know he's doing a lot of other things, but oh no, more Lings get on in here, and this could be more dead SCVs right now, and it definitely is gonna be Dream. He never raised the wall, and that is actually gonna cost him this game, I feel, because before he had like 28 to 35 drones, 28 SCVs to 35 drones. Now he's going to have like no SCVs by the time this is done. And based on that fact, I think he's just going to die here. Like, if he had raised that wall, he would have been fine, but no, he didn't. And all of a sudden, you're just sitting here as the Terran trying to clean up the Lings. You're just like, oh no, that's no good. My BC can't shoot fast enough. There's literally just too much Zerg. And as a result, I think that's going to be it. GG Rogue takes the series 2-1 with a decisive all-in. And well done by him. Dream did a good job scouting that in time. I think if this has been like a very technical, like hypothetical cast, so we may as well add in a bit more. I think if Dream really repairs this bunker, we're gonna see he repairs versus the first wave of Corrosive Bile, but then he kind of gives up on the repair after a second. Right here, he gives up on the repair. I think if he just sacks the SCVs to repair a little bit longer, then I think that would have been the best choice. I don't know, he runs him away. Definitely leaving that depot down was a big mistake. I thought maybe he thought it was dead or something, because the depot usually does get picked off to open the floodgates, but that was still there. More and more lings coming in, more and more and more and more and more and more. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say it once more. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press that like button. Of course, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this kind of commentary, make sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I shall see you next time. This has been LaughNgamez.